if you're watching this show, there's a decent chance that you're on a diet or you're thinking about being on a diet. Well, we're not going to talk about the specific food today, but we are going to talk about how to eat, because how you eat plays an extremely important role in the success of your diet. So to help us walk through some of the best practices for how to eat is my guest today, Dr. Stephen Tates. Doc is a master herbalist, a naturopath, a diplomat of integrative medicine with over half a century of herbal medicine experience. And Doc, we're going to put some of that experience to good use today. And so a lot of people are on diets, or maybe they're not even on a diet. It's just we all eat. Is it safe to say that how you eat plays a critical role in the success of your fitness and health goals?
I would take it another step too. How you eat and understanding the rules in consuming food is the first step before you start thinking, I'm going to become a vegetarian, I'm going to try to change my eating habits. So the rules that I'm going to mention apply not only to people who are trying to change their eating habits or lifestyle, but people who are not ready to do that, but they need to understand how to eat their foods. Even if it's not the best foods, there's rules of the road that when you violate it, even if you're not eating right, it makes the problem even worse. So you have to understand that. And then people who get on a diet program or want to become a vegetarian or a semi-vegetarian or paleo diet or something like that, there's certain rules that these people are not following because they don't recognize that these are actual rules or the first step in improving your health by what you're consuming in your body. And we're going to do these as 5. We're going to try to do these one by one,
All right, and how many rules are there?
5. Okay?
5 of them. Okay. All right. So are you ready to jump right into rule number 1?
Okay. Rule
All
number
right, let's
1.
go.
No late night eating. Now, a lot of us, because of our work schedules, we're working at night or we're running all day and it's 9, 10 o'clock at night. And now we're talking about eating a meal. It's going to first keep you up. Secondly, it's impossible for the body to digest food after a certain hour. So even if you're eating wholesome, if it's 9, 10 o'clock at night and you're having a vegetable dish, your body's not going to break it down because our body has 3 8-hour clocks in a 24-hour cycle. One for the body, one for the mind, one for the spirit. And the physical clock for digestion is from noon to 8 p.m. That's when the body can break down what we're eating, assimilate it, digest it, eliminate any byproducts from it. Before that time, before noon, people tend to eat big breakfasts, and what happens is, if you think about it, when you've eaten a big breakfast, you're tired and sluggish all day. But when you've eaten really light, you actually have more energy because the digestive cycle has not started. The word breakfast means breaking your fast. And when you break the fast, it should be on, tea, liquids, juices, fruit, small amounts of stuff. No bread, no pancakes, no biscuits, no waffles, none of that stuff because it's heavy because the body can't break it down because it's not that time for digestion. Then around noon, then that digestive cycle really kicks in. And the best time to eat your food is between that noon, 5, 6 o'clock in the evening. Even though that cycle is from noon to 8 p.m., when you get closer to that 8 p.m. time, then the body won't be able to break down that food. That's why people who eat late gain weight faster because it just sits. Even if it's good food, it is just going to sit in the body.
And now, a quick word from our sponsor, Dr. Tates, Herbal Tinctures and Tonics. Dr. Tates offers the Herbal Blood Tonic, Doc's Detox, Herbal Male Tonic, Herbal Female Tonic, and the Herbal Fat Burner. If you would like to order your tonics or learn more information, you can go to drtates.com online. And if you click the link in the description and enter the special promo code Adventures in Good Health 2024, you will receive 10% off your entire order. For more information, click the links below. And now back to the show. So you mentioned that the body is really good at digesting starting around noonish, noon to 8 p.m. Does that mean people shouldn't eat a breakfast?
Light breakfast, protein shakes,
a light
oatmeal
breakfast,
maybe, fruit especially. But when you start to get into the breads and the grains and stuff early in the morning, the body can't break it down. So it's going to sit in the body, ferment, spoil, clog the system, and drain your energy. You ever had some time, and we've all done it, did you ever had a big meal first thing in the morning? By 1, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you're tired. You're sluggish. It's like, oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Then some days, you might not eat nothing at all in the morning. Maybe nibble on some fruit, had a shake with some tea, and you have better energy throughout the day. That shows that, the body knows that difference. It's like, it's not 12 yet, okay, and it won't break it down. And this is based on the sun and the moon cycles and where they are. So, because some people, they work night shifts, then that's really throws off this digestive cycle. So, because it's after 8 and they're working 12 to 6 shift or 10 to 4 shift, then what they eat should be very, very light. Fruit, juices, teas, the body has a better chance. Maybe some vegetable soups has a better chance of digesting it. If not, it clogs and it messes up the best of diets. And for those who are not vegetarians, are meat and potato people, that still applies as well. So that's why you said in the beginning, it's not so much what you eat, but how you eat and understanding those rules. So if you're a meat eater, okay, eat light in the morning. And then if you're having your steak and potatoes and stuff, you don't even want to do that during that noon to 8 p.m. cycle, because after that, you're screwed.
So, Doc, are you interested in hearing a case study? Okay, so as of late last year, I had reached a certain point in my weight, had weighed more than I had ever in my life, and I had even talked to you a little bit about this, and you had recommended the Herbal Fat Burner, which I started taking, and then you'd also mentioned about some of the the eating and how you should eat and when you should eat and stuff like that. And so on January 2nd, my wife and I started making some changes, and I don't consider myself to be on a quote diet, but I used to eat a big breakfast every day, especially when I was traveling. Those hotels have these big buffets and all that kind of stuff. I was like, I need to have that big breakfast. That's the most important meal of the day, is what we always would hear. And we changed from that. And so now I have breakfast with my wife, usually around noon to 1 in the afternoon. And if somebody had told me 6 months ago that I could actually do that,
I said no.
Well, but like, oh, I'm so hungry and lightheaded and all that. I mean, I would have thought they were crazy because I just knew me. But hitting that weight honestly scared the heck out of me. So we started eating around noon. 1 o'clock was our first meal of the day, and it was a breakfast. It's kind of a light breakfast. And then we have a dinner. And I don't eat late. I used to get up at 2 or 3 in the morning and would fix myself a couple of English muffins every day.
And
it was also delicious.
Expanding.
I think I was I was paying for that. I mean, that was going right. You can't see here, but that was going right here. So I stopped that. I stopped eating, probably eliminated 90% of my carbs, and took what you told me very seriously about the timing of the eating. And I've lost, I'm not going to say exactly how much I've lost. I've lost 10 years
of fat and waste in your body. Yeah.
I'm now back down to the weight when I got married weight. And without being on a specific diet or anything, I just reduced my carbs take the fat burner and I eat breakfast noon to 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's made a change. So if anyone who's listening to this are like, well, I don't know, the sun and the moon, I don't know what it is, but Doc, you know exactly what you're talking about, and it's changed my health. So there you go. There's a testimonial on rule number 1. And I'm not gonna do a testimonial on every single rule, but I know that people want to listen. They want to listen to your other rules, but just understand this is real stuff. This is real benefit for people who listen to your recommendations. So thank you, Doc. And so now, with that testimonial over, are we good to start with rule number 2?
Yeah, almost.
Almost.
You made a good point in a statement. You said that we hear breakfast is the most important meal of the day. You know where that slogan came from? The breakfast food industry. The people who make the sausages and the biscuits and the bacon and stuff. So, yeah.
One of these days, we're going to do a podcast, and it might be slightly off topic, about all the things we think we know about life, modern society, was developed by a marketing company. But that's a whole other topic.
It is the most important meal in the day because that's when they make their money. You know, so and that's that game. But now we're going to go into the second one, and that's rule number 2.
Right, rule number 2.
Do not drink with your meals. I know.
What?
I know. You know, that tea or that Patron or the juice or something, you can...
Well, unless you're eating Mexican food, I wouldn't, I'm not sure Patron would go with that. But you're like not even wine, not
because
water.
What happens is that when you drink with your meal, you wash out the digestive juices so that you're eating and the body can't break down those foods adequately because all the chemicals that are secreted when you're trying to digest food to break down the food into soft substances to be absorbed into the body can't do it because you've washed those digestive fluids out because you're drinking with the meal. Okay, so, now people say, well, I've always drank with my meal. And I grew up, I did that too. But I was eating too much, eating too fast, eating too heavy, and I needed something to kind of wash it down. But as I changed and some of these other rules will apply to this as well, I reached a point that now I can't drink with my meals. So it's an adjustment that we think is real difficult, but I tell our audiences listening that if they give it a 2, 3, 4 week trial with this, I'm not going to drink with my meal, and then they try to go back to drinking with their meal, you'll feel that it's off because your body's become more sensitive to its whole digestive process. So the body breaks down the food you're eating, helps digest it, assimilate it, and eliminate the waste from that, assuming we eat right. But just say, for example, you're a meat and potato person, as I mentioned before. Then if you've got your beer or your juice or your wine, whatever else, then you want to give a certain amount of time before you eat and after you eat. Now, some books will say an hour before, hour after. My mind, that's not realistic, okay? You want about 15, 20 minutes before your meal. So if you're going to drink some tea or something, and you want to make sure that you got a good 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes before you start eating. When you finish eating, then you want to give it another 15 minutes. Give the body a chance to break it down, to get the nutrition or get something, or allow it to digest. And this is probably, once you start it, one of the easiest things to do because it feels right. It's something about when you go back to drinking with your meals after you stayed away from a while, the food and everything doesn't feel right. It feels like mush in the body, So then if we eat late and then we drink with the meals, you see the pattern. I'm eating late and I'm drinking with my meal. So my body's not digesting it because it's too late, and it's not digesting it because I washed the digestive juices out. So that stuff stores and ferments and breaks down in the body. So No drinking with the meals.
All right. So, your recommendation, and just so that I'm quoting you, is it's okay to eat your Big Mac and your fries, but hold off on the soda.
You know, whatever.
Or the shake. Okay. And that was actually a setup. I was playing a joke.
I know. I caught it, but I wanted to throw it in.
Because I don't think you would ever let anyone quote you on that one. But your food, all right, so when you're eating, eat your food. The drink should be separate because it's diluting your digestive juices, and a key part of your digestion happens in your stomach.
Yeah.
Obviously. And that just dilutes it, and that causes
now to add to that
problems.
point, once we put food in our mouth, there's enzymes going all the way down to our stomach that help soften and break it up so we can absorb the nutrient. We wash that out, then it can't do that process. So it sits in the body. Even if we have bowel movement and stuff, it still sits. So that's the second principle. You notice I didn't say if you're a vegetarian or if you're a meat eater. These are rules that apply to our viewers, no matter what their eating habits are.
Universal truths or axioms
I like the
eating.
axioms of eating. I'm going to use that,
all right.
Okay?
I'll be sure to coin that.
You don't have a patent on that one, do you?
Okay.
Okay.
No copyright. Okay, no trademarks. All right.
You ready for number 3?
I am ready for number 3. Well, first of all, I'm going to try number 2. I will try it.
Well,
I'll see how that goes.
Do?
So I'm ready to take this to the next. I'm going to take this to the next level.
And then what you like is
feel the challenge.
Help you digest food better, which means more energy, and will make you even
all right.
firmer. Now, I tell people when they start that their cell phone, when they're getting ready to sit down, put a timer on it. You're drinking something, and then you put 10 minutes or 15 minutes on your timer. Say, oh, now I can eat. And then when you finish eating, you have that timer for 10, 15 minutes. Oh, now I can drink. So see, you start doing it. Start with 5 minutes, move to 10, move to 15.
All right. But in my household, we're not allowed to have cell phones at the dinner table, but I can have it off in the distance. All right.
Mental telepathy or something,
Okay.
Okay.
Rule number 3.
Eat small meals or small portions, saucer size amounts, okay? And chew slowly, okay?
Okay. Small
portion.
You say saucer size
and
amounts.
Chew slowly. Yeah.
And chew slowly.
Here's the thing. I was at a Chinese restaurant, vegetarian Chinese restaurant, okay? And I was ordering some food to come home with, okay? And I eat my food in sections. Like I might eat the rice, wait a while. Then I might eat the vegetables, wait a while. But I'm sitting there and waiting for my order. And there was 2 people sitting there eating. And David, their head was down like this. And they were doing this. That boarding house style eating. It wasn't until the man lifted up that I realized he had a beard. Okay, because his head, and he was just doing like this. Body cannot handle that. Think about children, babies, okay? You only can feed them so much, and instinctively they don't want any more. Come on, take some more. Oh, I don't want that, okay? So that is an indication that it should be small portion. Every species in nature, other than us, eats in small portions, except dogs. You put food in front of a dog, you eat everything till it kills them. Cats, cows, birds, everything, they will eat small portions and they save the rest. If a cheetah grabs a deer, that deer might last 3 days because they're taking sections, then they run around the forest, and then come back and eat some more. That's how it should be. So you want to have like a saucer size amount, eating slowly at the right time. And one of the principles, if you take a couple of bites and you chew it, let it feel like it's come down to your gut a little bit before you take a couple of more bites. What that does is it keeps you from eating too much because you're going to get the nutrition eating slower than when you eat fast. People inhale their food And the body doesn't have time to say, stop, I've had enough. Don't put me anymore. And that's another way that you gain weight. Now, I have to give my father credit. He wasn't into natural healing or health, ex-Marine sergeant, and
Okay.
I would inhale my food. That's my word. I mean, as a child. And I would eat it so fast, and my father would say to me, boy, do you remember what you ate? And because he said that, it went out of my mind what it was I ate. He said, don't turn around and go look, But I was eating it so fast, I was inhaling it, and I was starting to gain weight. And a lot of people I counsel, when they start doing small portions, and I said, get a saucer, and then eat in small portions. Like, say, for example, you eat salmon, right? Okay. And you wanted the salmon meal. You got the salmon, you got the rice, and you got the vegetable. One of the things I tell people, eat small portions. So start with the salmon, because that's what you really wanted. Take your time, chew slowly, then wait a while, then go to the rice, and then go to the vegetable. But that makes you do small portions.
You're trying to build kind of this discipline.
Exactly.
Because I can imagine, well, I can do more than imagine. I can say from personal experience, I never noticed how fast I ate, because I just ate fast. When I would go to work, I would go to lunch with my coworkers. We only had a certain amount of time for lunch, so we would boom, 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 eat. Go to dinner, even in corporate environments. So a corporate dinner, with vice presidents and directors and stuff. Everyone was just inhaling their food. And this is like expensive food, eating at nice restaurants and stuff like that. It's like in 20 minutes, everyone's done. Yep, we're all done. Let's go eat. Let's go do something else. Let's go to the bar. Let's get drunk, whatever. And it wasn't until I got married that my wife, she's like, you need to slow down. You are eating too fast. But until someone actually said something to me, I had never noticed. And now today I noticed, because like you had mentioned, you saw that gentleman at a restaurant.
Like this.
He was eating, like this. I notice now in restaurants and places. I just like, wow, people are like,
they're fast.
And are they really getting the nutrients? Are they really? I mean, first of all, are they even enjoying the food?
That's a good question. I don't want to answer that one. Okay.
Yeah, are they even enjoying the food? And two, what you're saying is they're almost like skipping the first step of their digestive process, which is in their mouth and their esophagus. It goes right down the hatch and they're done.
And that's a good point you make, because when you're chewing your food thoroughly, and I've read where you need to chew your food 75 to 100 times. Yeah, right. Not even close.
75 to 100 times,
really?
Per bite?
No. That's what those those.
I need to see the science behind that. Maybe that was for cows.
There is no science for that.
I want to see that one.
But,
yeah.
The digestive juices starts in your tongue and in your saliva. So when you're doing this, you've already bypassed one section, and then you keep bypassing the other sections, and then it ends up sitting. I'll go to an Ethiopian restaurant, and I pick up, some vegetables, vegan plate, and some of the sambosa, the lentils. I may eat the sambosa and wait a while, and then come back and eat some more and wait a while. It's like the cows. They eat their food, they nibble, and then they walk around for a while, and then they come back and nibble more. If anybody's ever had a cat, any kind of cat, and you put food out there and water, the cat will nibble, and it'll run around, climb up on the dresser, drive you crazy, take a nap, come back and eat some more. So I could leave a cat with a week's worth of food. The cat will survive. A dog wouldn't. Excuse me, a dog would not survive, because it will eat everything in a hurry. And when it eats everything in a hurry, then it doesn't break it down.
Okay. One more quick observation. Again, this is from personal experience, is that eating your meals while watching television, I really have to wonder if the rushing, trying to get through your meal, is affected by that. Because what I have found is when I would eat in front of the TV, I could have a very nicely prepared meal, but I'm trying to watch TV. So in a sense, mentally, I want to get that meal out of the way.
You're watching TV, yeah.
So I can more enjoy watching the TV show. And I really kind of wonder if we have gotten into this kind of multi-generational habit of eating. Of course, now it's in front of YouTube. So hopefully you're not watching this YouTube channel
Put the food
right now.
down.
But I do kind of wonder if that is also part of it. And of course, now you can get whole meals at a movie theater, and it's dark, and it can get messy. So it's like, eat it all up, get it out of the way, so now you can focus on
That's some of the
your
reasons
movie.
why obesity and people heavy is a primary thing. You can go around a public school, at elementary or high schools, and when I was growing up, you saw a few people that were overweight. Now you can go and you have to look to see who's not overweight, because that's a smaller number of people. In the old days, before I was born, that's my story and I'm sticking with it. Okay, but in the old days, when it was time to eat, you went into the dining room or the kitchen and you sat down and you ate. It wasn't like the television. When I was growing up, it's time to eat. And I was watching something, my father would say, boy, you need to turn that TV off. It's time to eat. And the TV would be shut off. So, and that's an old cultural thing, because the more you focus your mind on what you're eating, the more that actually stimulates the digestive juices as well. And you're eating slow, eating at the right time, then the body absorbs that nutrients a whole lot better than it would otherwise.
All right. Also wonder, people back in the day would sit at a table and they would talk to each other. And what I've noticed is it's hard to eat when you're talking.
Yeah.
And so I have noticed, even today, people who talk at a meal, they're like not even halfway through their meal when you're done. And you're like, are you done? Are you going to finish eating your meal, or are you going to just keep on talking?
Yeah.
Well, people used to talk, and so the meals would stretch out longer, and you would eat a few bites, and then you put your fork down, and then you would say something, or you'd be listening, and it was a slower pace. Wow, I mean, we could probably do a whole episode just on that.
To finish up on that point, people used to sit and dine. So if you're eating slowly, take a couple bites. I tell people, when you take a couple bites, put the fork down. Or put the weapon down, as I call it, okay? And let it digest. And while it's digesting, you could be having a conversation, and then you go back and eat a couple more. So it was a structural thing that goes back for centuries. Now we're talking constantly, and we're eating the food in a hurry. So you eat, you dine. If everybody's taking a couple bites and letting it digest, you're having a conversation as it's digesting, you go back and eat a couple more bites. That's the ideal thing, which just doesn't happen anymore.
Okay.
Everything is fast, microwave type eating. Not necessarily microwaving your food, but that kind of concept.
All right. I think we have sufficiently beaten that topic to death, which I am quite capable of doing.
Number 4.
All right. So, number 4.
Like this one. Never eat under stress or in a hurry. And this is very important, because when you're stressed or in a hurry and you try to eat, the stress and the worry or the running shuts down the digestive process, shuts it down completely. From here down the intestines won't work. So if you're stressed, you're angry, you're going through crisis, and you're trying to eat, there is no digestive process going on. You feel it in the stomach, you might feel it up in your sinuses, because it shuts it down. Reason why it shuts it down is because the nerve energy, the energy in the nerves that's designed to help the muscles and glands in its digestive process, has now been transformed to try to deal with the stress and the anger or the worry. So 90% of the nerve energy that would be involved in the digestion of food along with other things has now been shifted to try to deal with the stress or try to deal with your hurrying up and stuff. And there's no digestion, not even a partial digestion. It is shut down completely. Okay, so you might as well wait. I have people say you're stressed, you stop, you do some breathing, do a prayer if that's appropriate, you settle yourself down. Then you eat the small portions. Then you don't drink with your meals. You do all those types of things, eating at the right time. But it takes it away. So I see people, and especially when you're at a kitchen table and you're eating and arguing with somebody at the table, but you're angry or you're reviewing the stresses that went on in your day while you're trying to eat. It's not going to happen. And then the other part of that is, if you and I are eating and I'm stressed and I'm expressing to you my day and how stressful my day was, okay? Now that affects me, but it also affects you because it's going in your ears and it's going inside of you. You're trying to eat in peace, okay? And I'm all over the place. So some of that stress starts to affect your body and digestive system, so it spills over.
I mean, it makes total sense, and it does. It's almost tied in a little bit to the eating so fast. Is that you're saying? Well, it's not just now. You're not talking about just the physical eating so fast. Now, like you're out and about, and we talk about a lot about the problems with fast food.
The word "fast,"
which is the molecular contents of the fast food. But there is even the nature of eating fast food. A lot of people will eat it in their car. They eat it to go. They're go. And here, let me go get a fast food. Or maybe you're at work. You go to the break room. There's a candy bars or those really nasty little sandwiches and stuff like that. And people will literally just go, oh, because they're out. They got 10 minutes on their break. They're out. They got to go do other things. And then you're saying that the stress just affects the body. All that energy that you should be putting into digesting.
Not there. Yeah. And I saw
makes total sense.
Day leaving out of a fast food place. I'm not going to name the fast food place, but as I was.
I'm more curious as to why you at a fast food place.
Fast food place. He was pulling out.
Okay.
He almost hit a car because he's nibbling on his burger, and he wasn't paying attention to driving on the road. Then as he's passing by me, I see him with a burger in his mouth and his hand, and he's grabbing some French fries, and he's trying to eat the French fries while he's holding on to the steering wheel. I backed up.
Yeah.
Go on, just go on, because and these things accelerate the aging. Now, just say I'm a vegetarian, which I am. I've been for half a century, but say I'm a vegetarian, and I violated these first 4 rules. My food, even though it's wholesome, is going to be almost as toxic as the junk food that somebody else is eating, because I'm eating at the wrong time. I'm drinking with my meal. I'm eating large portions. I'm eating under stress. So that's why we said in the beginning, it's about what you eat, but the first step is understanding how you should eat. What are the principles? Okay.
All right.
Now.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
5.
Eat only 1 starch at a meal. Eat small amounts. So you don't want to have some pasta and a potato. The body's on it.
Oh, that's really heavy. That'd be really heavy.
See, food combining is important. And even though I put down eat 1 starch with a meal, I take it a little bit farther in food combining. Fruits should be eaten by themselves with other fruits.
All right, fruits eaten by themselves. Okay.
Either by themselves or with 1 protein or 1 starch, not both.
What about a salad?
Salads can be good. Okay, then you can have.
Is that your one, or does that kind of like you're like, well,
that's
some people make salads with
See,
a dozen
they
different
overdo it. You know, they got
veggies
all kind of cream and sauces and chopped up potatoes and all this kind of stuff, and your body saying, "Ah, what are you doing to me?" Okay, so I'm gonna go by these principles because this is important. Fruit by
Okay.
itself. Yeah, some people break down sweet
Okay.
fruit, acid fruit, subacid fruit, but we're not gonna go like that. Okay, fruit by themselves. Vegetables by
Okay.
themselves, whether they're raw or steamed or by themselves, or with one starch or one protein. If I have my vegetables and then I have a starch like some pasta or a potato, which is starchy, and then I have me some fish, bad combination. Okay, so it's protein like fish or chicken or plant-based protein by itself or with vegetables, or the vegetables with one starch but without the protein. So that means starches and proteins do not mix well together. So the meat and potato dishes and the chicken and rice dishes are poor combinations. But that's how we eat. Most of us eat that way. Now, how do you know when the body's having problems digesting? Gas builds up. You feel bloated in the middle, okay? You feel heavy. You feel sluggish. You know, oh, that was a good meal. I'm going to take a nap. Well, what's wrong with that? You ate food is supposed to nourish you. It's supposed to build your strength. So you shouldn't have to take a nap. Okay, but if you're eating...
So if you feel sleepy
You just
after a
did-
meal,
That's a red flag.
That's
You
a
did
red flag.
One, or one of these rules you did wrong, or maybe all five because you've done wrong. And then,
You could.
And then that overworked the body. And when it overworked the body and it had difficulty or impossible to digest, it drains the body's energy. Whereas food is supposed to give you that boost. It's like in the morning, if you have some oatmeal, or it was one of the only grains you can actually do in the morning, there's some oatmeal or some fruit or fruit smoothie, you actually have more energy going into the day than with that big meal that will tide you and make you sluggish. So it's how you break up the meals. Like one starch with a meal, except
Okay.
if you got a protein. Now, I've read some of these food combining
All
charts, and it's almost like you have to be an engineer to understand what they're saying because they get too ridiculous. So I may broke it down. I'm going to say it one more time. Fruit by itself, vegetables by itself,
Fruit by itself.
vegetables by itself, or with a protein, or
Veggies.
with a starch. So if I have a salad and I've got some chicken in the salad, I can't eat a potato on the side because that three combination overworks the body, will not assimilate the nutrition, will drain your energy, and you need to take a nap afterwards.
All right. So since I've been on this little program and I've lost some weight, I think about the meals that we have at dinner, and it's like a salad and a protein. I can't remember the last time I've had a starch mixed in. Like rice, we don't really eat that much rice.
Potatoes, something like it. Yeah.
Potatoes, things like that. I mean, we will occasionally. Now, I will say that when we travel, I kind of fall off the wagon a little bit, and I'll eat a little more potatoes, and we're staying with people, and they're having breakfast, and guess what?
Yeah.
The weight comes on.
Yeah. So when
It's
you're,
like,
so when
kinda
you're
notice it.
traveling, or you're visiting people, when you're traveling and you're getting something because you're going to be on the road or something like that, break them down. Okay, I am going to eat the rice right now. I'm going to wait a while, 20, 30 minutes, something, maybe 15 minutes. Then I'm going to eat my fish, or my fish first, then my rice. I'm vegetarian, but I'm just breaking that down. Then I might have the beans a little bit later. And that can all be within an hour time, but you're letting the body digest some of what you just ate, give it a break, and then go to the next thing. So I'll buy food and I'll eat a section. Then an hour or so later, another section. Hour or so later, I need another section. Now, for those who are listening saying, why am I going to go through all of this? Well, it slows down the aging and starts to reverse some of the aging in your body because now you're getting good nutrition instead of creating chaos in your body.
There has been a a number of studies on people who live to be at least 100 years old. And there does appear to be a direct connection between people who live a long time, a long, healthy life, and the amount of food that they ate. At least with some of the studies I've said, and there does seem to be a connection. Just not eating a lot of food. People who do not eat a lot physically, bulky, they don't eat the bulk. And for some reason, that helps their longevity.
Works better. The body works better. If you think about it, most people who are in their 70s, 80s, 90s, 100, are they not, for the most part, smaller frame people? They're not heavy. Because you carry heavy weight as you get older, you're going to create a bunch of nightmares, which we won't go through because it's not the subject today. But you create a lot of nightmares with that stored up food waste in your body. So the older we get, these rules become even more important, and the smaller the frame will be. Think about when you said, when you lost that weight around the middle, how much more energy did you have? How much more mental clarity did you have? Yeah.
That was much better.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Doc, just for the audience, let's see how much of this I've retained. Rule number 1, no late night eating. Rule number 2, don't drink liquids with your meal. Rule number 3, eat small portions.
And chew slowly.
And chew slowly. Number 4, don't eat while under stress or when you're in a hurry.
Correct.
And number 5, only eat one starch with the meal. And you need to be aware of veggies, proteins, and starches. You have to understand how to mix those.
You got it.
Okay. All right. So, Doc, if someone has questions, you do consultations and you do talk to people about their diet and a wide range of health situations.
Well, they can call me at 404-943-1171. That way they'll get directly to me. But if they listen to the podcast and they got questions, as I've always said, they need to mention, Doc, I heard you on a podcast. You were talking about this, that, and the other. That will help me understand that you're interested in learning new things and not just curious. You listen to the podcast and you like the podcast, and then you call, and then we go forward from there.
All right, Doc. Well, thank you very much for, again, sharing your knowledge and experience with the audience.
I appreciate you.
All right. And audience, I appreciate you. And so thank you very much for watching. Thank you for commenting. Now, if you have a question or a suggestion, or you're thinking, you would like to have us bring up another topic, or there's something that you would like for us to discuss, post the comment, because I do read those comments. Also, if you like this episode, don't forget to like, and please, if you haven't done so already, subscribe. Subscribing and pressing the notification button, that helps the channel, but it also notifies you every time we post a new video to the channel. All right, so that's it for this week. I am David Maloof, exploring natural approaches to good health. That does it for this episode of Adventures in Good Health. We would like to hear from you regarding this podcast and any suggestions you have for future podcasts. You can reach us at Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Please subscribe and leave a rating or a review.